Alright, so we have moved on to the front of the 2003 Chevrolet Suburban. It is a four-wheel drive. That makes a little difference in your front rotors. This one's a little bit different. The rears had a 12 millimeter. This one, to pull the caliper off, is a T55 Torx bit. And they did an update on these where they got rid of the Torx. I haven't done the updated kit just because I haven't had any issues with these so far. We're going to get these pulled out and get this front end done. And we're using the same Detroit axle, ceramic brakes, and the drilled and slotted rotors for the front. And on these, where the rear had the pin and the bolt that went into it, on these it is a one-piece pin and bolt all together. I don't know if you can see it. You can see better when I take this off. Front rotors are in decent shape. You feel some ridges in them. Not horrible, but we're able to get this brake kit for a reasonable price. And one of these rotors is warped. You can feel it whenever you hit the brakes. You get a little vibration in there. And there's the lower pin. And they are identical, so you don't have to worry about trying to keep them separated. There it is. This one's going to be a bit difficult on us. We had to find a little more persuasion because this one doesn't want to cooperate. But as my lovely wife just said, go big or go home. Sometimes you just have stuff that is not nice. Okay, same thing up here as it was on the back. Plenty of pad. Plenty. We're just not getting the stopping power that we should. Same thing on the back side. Plenty of pad, but still not stopping like we want. So therefore we are taking it apart. And I think I see our problem. this is going to cost us a little bit more than expected. You see this right here? That is our caliper, chewed all to pieces. So I guess we will have to find us a caliper and come back when we have the new one and finish this job up. So we're back from pricing some of these out. After I've looked at this a little bit more, it's a little thin piece of sheet metal over that. The caliper compressed just fine. It's working, it's moving. It's just a little piece of sheet metal that come off. So we're gonna run it. I'll replace this before winter time, just because that has exposed these cups more so to the salt and the elements. Everything's functioning fine on this particular caliper, so we're going to keep going with this install, and I think everything will be just fine for the time being. So we'll set that up on that A-arm out of the way. So take this off, same as in the back, 18 millimeter. Get my persuasion back out here. It's identical to the one on the rear. And off she comes. Now, unlike the rear, these stay on. We'll put grease on the pins, then put the pins, which are also the retaining bolts, back in here. I'm going to pop these clips off. Set this to the side, go ahead and get this old rotor off. Ugh. Boy, she is nasty, nasty back there. And this is why you need to keep a good eye on your brakes. Here's the new front rotor. I didn't do this on the back, and I should have. I'll put these up side by side. You see the difference here. They're about the same thickness, but this one's just got so much more meat to it, it feels like. Probably because all the rust falling out of that other one. And just like before, I'm going to use the Detroit Axles non-chlorinated brake parts cleaner. It says it's a 50-state formula. Just spray it on myself, it'll be alright. Wouldn't be the first time. Sure, it won't be the last. If you can't laugh at yourself, if you're doing stupid stuff like that. These are supposed to be coated as well, just like the rear was, for rust prevention. The way they've drilled these is really nice. Put a little chamfer in each one. Good looking grooves. And these go in like so. They just slide over here. It was supposed to slide over there. So there are two different ones here. If you look, this one's wide, narrow. This one goes apparently here. You got the wide part right there, and this one will go up here. And this one is slightly bent. Nothing that we can't handle. Their little grease packet, just like they sent with the rear pads. And I didn't show this on the rear. I did go back and correct my mistake. You put just a little bit of this grease on here for those pads to slide on. This is a high temperature grease. It's going to handle the high temperatures of these brakes. Just put a little dab on here. And we're ready to put this back on. Turn the right way. There we go. Easy, easy. And if you you watch the video where we did the rear brakes on this car, there was green epoxy of some kind that was right in here, and it's not on the front pads. I've got to find out what that is for, because it will drive me nuts. The same thing, you have one with the squealer, one without on each side. Now we're going to clean up these pins. A little grease on those. The same thing is on the rear. You want these pins to have a good little coating of this grease. In high temperature, it's going to allow this caliper to slide back and forth. And on here, you have the little rubber boots. You got to move those into position. They don't like to cooperate. Same thing for the pin on the lower side. We've got some front end components on this Suburban that need to be replaced before too much longer. We'll see how the Detroit axle braking system works, and if we're satisfied with it, we may try their front steering and suspension parts. Because I know the power steering pump on this is getting a little weak. It's not went out, it's just getting weak on us. But from what I can tell, they make your tie rod ends, ball joints, axle shafts, steering components of all kinds, braking components. They have shocks, struts, which obviously this one doesn't have struts up here. It's a torsion bar setup. But we do have vehicles that have struts and other bits and pieces that are different from this Suburban. If we like their parts, we'll continue to use them. And she's back together. Again, T55 for these pins. Yours may have the updated with the actual bolt head. I didn't have any issues getting this off. But we'll put a good 12 hours worth of highway driving and in on these brakes. We'll get them broke in and we'll come back with a review after we get back. Thanks for watching.